Welcome back to Heaven's Sake News. I'm your host, Deborah Grace. If you have small children, I encourage you to take them out of the room, as tonight's broadcast does include adult themes that may not be suitable for small children. We have a breaking report that Samson out of Gaza has died. Our investigative team has been given exclusive access to Samson's journal, who led Israel for 20 years despite his 3 known romantic interludes with Palestinian women: the woman of Timnath, the harlot in Gaza, and Delilah of Sorek. Our story begins with Samson, who was born to Manoah of Zorah from the tribe of Dan. It appears that his unnamed mother, who was also of Israelite descent, based on her pleas that her son choose a wife from the 12 tribes of Israel. The personal journal indicates that he often had the Spirit of the Lord come upon him throughout his life, and potentially even in his final moments. Early on, Samson realized his great strength, verified by the accounts recorded by his parents that he observed the vow of the Nazarites and never cut his hair, a message given to his parents by an unnamed angel. Having seen a woman of the Philistines, Samson set out to take her as his wife. The first apparent surge of strength, precluded by the Spirit of the Lord, came when he tore a lion apart by his bare hands in the vineyards of Timnath. The bloody accounts start here. Cheekishly known as the Riddler, Samson taunted 30 Philistines at his wedding feast to solve a riddle with the stakes at 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. On the 7th day of the feast, the Philistines charged the bride to coax the riddle's answer from her new husband. For the next 7 days, she pleaded with Samson for this, and he finally broke, telling her the answer to his clever riddle. After she relayed the riddle to her people, they won the bet, and for Samson, all bets were off. Angry with the men and his wife, he callously stated, "If you hadn't plowed with my heifer, you wouldn't have guessed the answer." Folks, this is where the story gets hairy. The Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson a second time, and he traveled to Ascalon, where he killed 30 men and left them naked, robbed them, and took their clothes to fulfill his bet. Upon returning home, he desired to go in to his wife, only to find that her father had given her to his friend, who then offered a younger, more beautiful daughter to Samson. Fired up, Samson tied 300 foxes together by their tails and lit them on fire. Multiple crops were lost: corn, grapes, and olives. Upon learning that Samson was responsible for this arson event, the Philistines sought to appease his wrath and burned his new wife and her father alive. Samson retaliated by killing the men who burned his bride and father-in-law. Attempting to escape the heat, Samson fled to the top of Edom Rock, where 3,000 Philistines caught up to him to bind him and face charges in Lehi. A third time, the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson, where he broke out of his handcuffs, found a donkey's jawbone, and killed the 3,000 Philistine men. Exhausted and parched, an angry Samson yelled at God for leaving him dehydrated. But not to be called out, God made the jawbone pour out water to quench his thirst. Now infamous for his mass murders, Samson then began his 20-year leadership in Israel. We'll be right back for part 2 after this message from our sponsor, Pin the Tail on the Donkey. Pin the Jaw on the Donkey. I need a stronger drink.